Hi, this is Danny with Skin Harmonics, the very first Medi-Holistic skin resurfacing method and system. And today I have a history lesson prepared for you all. I went way down the rabbit hole last week and kind of found all the broken pieces of what I knew already, but now I have like medical reports and the whole timeline. So it was really fun, and I just want to share that with you guys so that we can understand this bigger picture and this interesting moment in time in the world of skin. But before I dive into that, I want to share with you a new 6-month program that I've bundled together, which is all the products, including the bulk refills, down to the first aid gel, including the session, like everything that, and all the butters, everything that somebody's going to need to go through my system, and also with monthly one-on-one intensives where we really get in there and dismantle old beliefs that no longer serve around our skin and how we take care of our skin, and of course imprint the new beliefs and the new patterns and the new habits that follow that help people keep their skin clear and healthy over a lifetime, which is what we want. We're not going to dispose of our skin as soon as we turn 50 or 60 or 70. Like, we need it all the way to the end. So I know a lot of you guys have already been through my skin program, and so if you have fallen astray, gotten lost, this program might be a good fit. Oh, this program also offers a 20% discount for 6 months while you're in this program off of all additional services and products. But I think the main thing is, like, maybe you guys might know who is a good match for this program. Most people don't even know that there is another way to help their skin. So I'm going to send a newsletter along with this one. Along with this newsletter, I'm going to send another email, which if you guys know of anybody to forward it to that would be a good match for this program, please do. I'm offering, of course, Calendly consultations, but whoever can match me up with somebody who needs this program, I'm giving $100 credit towards any way you want to put that, towards a session, towards products. And all right, I'm just excited about that. So look for that email and forward it on to anybody that you might know. All right, so now that you guys know about that, I want to jump into the history of skincare. And it was just really cool to see all of these pieces and the timeline of how everything kind of rolled out. Because what's so interesting to me is, like, everything is in such a renaissance right now, like nutrition, overall wellness, mental health, like somatic healing, all of this stuff, all of the biohacking stuff, everything that is happening right now is just in a complete renaissance, and it's so awesome. And it's so interesting to me why the skincare industry is so stagnant. Like, it is unchanged. And this is the timeline and the things that I wanted to share with you guys about how we got to be where we are. So it all started back in the 1900s. There were some scientists that, God bless this woman's soul, she was chemical pilled, and her face, not her body, but these scientists actually melted off her entire epidermal layer, which, by the way, has happened thousands of times since, but she was the first person to endure this. And what was discovered in the 1900s is that the epidermis is completely remade by our dermal skin layer. So if the epidermis disappears, our dermal layer has the capacity to reproduce that layer, that epidermal layer above it. So that's huge. And that led to laying the template of why we have this harm to heal idea in place. So then in the 1930s, the 1950s, this came to market. And of course, the chemical peels were remixed. They were made to be, there's all different intensities of chemical peels, even to this day. where there's superficial peels, lunchtime peels, there's deep peels where the epidermis truly is completely dissolved. So all of this comes to market in the 1930s, 50s, and of course explodes in the 60s, 70s, 80s with plastic surgery, because these chemical peels are marketed right along plastic surgery. So the next thing that happens on the timeline is about 1950. So in 1950, there was a system that was put together by the industrial chemical, industry. And they basically made a whole list of different components, like hydrophilic substances, esters, and oils. And they created this system because, there was so much industry happening around chemicals and all of these elements. And so they created this. And the next thing that happened was that in somewhere between 1950 and 1970, two men partnered up, and they were really productive with what they were able to accomplish in their lifetime. And they died about 10 years ago. But what they did was they borrowed and smuggled this system for oils into the skincare industry. And they developed this idea and this idea about non-comedogenic versus comedogenic oils. And they put it on this scale, whereas a 0 will not clog your pores and a 5 will clog your pores. And they did this by testing on rabbit ears, like live rabbit ears. They took different oils and they made a scale of this 0 to 5 of what's going to clog pores and what's not going to clog pores based on how the oil or lipid was interacting with the inside of live rabbit ears. I know. And something else that these two guys did together was they did some unethical testing on prisoners. And they also discovered retinol. So those are all significant things, because this good and bad oil list has been in place ever since. Well, it used to just be bad. Now, more modernly, after the 2000, more and more people have come out saying, well, some oils are going to clog your pores, but others won't. But it did start out as being all the oils are going to clog pores, and all of those oils need to be completely avoided when it comes to skincare. Their names are Kligman and Fulton. And the other massive thing that they did was that they really, really were able to put in this template that excessive oil and excessive bacteria and excessive skin cells were the root cause of acne. And this is, of course, layered on top of what happened. There was already a trauma approach to skincare in place with chemical peels. And so this approach to the dry to fix approach was added to the harm to heal approach. So that was added on top and to keep us going down, this bad highway. Accutane comes out in 1982, and of course this drug is just all about completely drying up all oil production throughout the whole body, which had massive, I don't even want to open that can of worms right now, but this caused a lot of digestive issues, hormone issues, mental and depressive issues for people. There's a lot of research that went into Accutane, and it to this day, like if you want to get Accutane, they stopped it for a while, but you're given literally like 2 phone books worth of disclaimers for that. So the next part of the timeline that I'm going to insert, because you guys are learning about this through me, and I want you guys to understand how all of this is intersecting, is I opened the Skin Sanctuary of Taos in 2005, and it stays open to 2012. I moved to California in 2010, so there's some overlap there because I kept both locations going for a few years, which was where I figured out so much of the practicality of my system was back in Taos. And in 2007, Dr. Ben Johnson invented the dermal nutrients. And this is what I'm always talking and raving about. It's this bioavailable form of retinaldehyde, not retinol, that is liposomally delivered. And of course, Ben, incredible, was able to put this together. And just some history about Ben, like he put this together after leaving probably early retirement because he was really into lasers and a high acid skincare line where it was just more of that trauma, more exfoliation. And so he left that and developed the dermal nutrients that we know now. I've always really liked him, but something kind of fun about him is that he also is really into wellness and internal health. One of the early pioneers that knew, how much diet and microbiome plays a role in acne. But he developed these harmonized waters that he caught so much flack for as a doctor. But they're really gorgeous, and I encourage you guys to check into his harmonized water line. And one of the reasons he was able to come up with these dermal nutrients is because he's not a dermatologist, he's a doctor. So he was coming at skincare from a holistic perspective from the very beginning. The next thing that happens is in 2009, there's a huge report that comes out, and it takes a lot to get these peer-reviewed medical reports out, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, because the research is just so intense. And so in 2009, there's a report that comes out that makes a really important statement about inflammation. And it states that inflammation is the beginning event in acne. And this is really big. And this confirms what a lot of holistic practitioners have known for years, is diet does play a role in skin health. And so this event of inflammation, may it be from a blood sugar spike or food allergies, microbiome upset, digestive upsets, hormones, all of that, because it's all connected, is the very beginning of all of the symptoms of acne. And in this same report that came out in 2009, there's two interesting things in this report. The first is that they say that the way that they word this is that the pathogenesis of follicular hyperkeratinization is still unclear. Like, they still don't know why these pores are clogging. And number two, they say our sebaceous gland, they're contemplating the sebaceous gland as being the brain of our skin, which it was always dismissed before. And now they're saying, like, this sebaceous gland, we think it's the brain of our skin. And so in 2020, just like 3 years ago, another report comes out, and everybody climbs on board at this point. There's multiple peer-reviewed, massive reports coming out. 2020, there's another report which confirms everything that was reported in 2009. And at this point, all the doctors have climbed on board. And this time they go so far as to say that no acne protocol is complete without addressing diet. And so, I mean, I just think it's always entertaining for me, but all of those same doctors that are now on board were all talking about what a myth that was, and it was all new age crockery. Well, now those same doctors are forced to climb on board, and they're the ones that are actually admitting, that diet is important because of the inflammation response. that's the internal inflammation that happens in our body from all of those issues is the beginning of acne. So there was another really important report that came out just a few months ago, and it's about the importance of our acid mantle. And this is interesting because this huge report that hit the national scene that came out a couple of months ago is all about, it comes from India, and it's basically India saying and putting in incredible amounts of research saying that the acid mantle of our skin is paramount. And we can't continue to overlook how important acid mantle is and the epidermal functions. And this is interesting because Ayurvedic medicine is about 3,000 years old. And they're all about oils and lubricating our skin with oils, nasal passages, ears. I don't know if any of you guys out there, you probably have, if all my people are into this, have had these treatments. And what they fundamentally understand about skin is that it's a release organ, and allowing our skin to be that and supporting its acid mantle and softening it, there's this incredible potential for release and absorption of the right things through our skin, which, you know, helps with full body health. And so this 3,000-year-old medicine system is clashing with American clinical skincare, which is about 50 years old. And there's this big clash because, of course, they know how important acid mantle is, and yet Americans, with all of our skin problems with our face, are saying, oh my God, oils are going to clog our pores and it's giving us acne. So like that's what's adding to this. And this report, there's also this really huge call to action for skin professionals to step up their game with promoting pH balanced skincare. And, you know, they couldn't directly point their finger at all of the topicals that actively tear down acid mantle. But what they could say in this report was, hey, like we really need to have products that support our acid mantle. So, it's been about 15 years since this report came out in 2009. But in this 15 years, there have not been new topicals that are in alignment with this new understanding of how inflammation is causing acne. And why would they? I mean, from where they sit, it's perfect because all of these acne topicals will never get to the root of the problem. And they are literally like throwing gasoline onto a fire because acne protocols are aggressively inflammatory. So we have an inflammation situation. We're going to magnify that, shut down natural skin functions, and you will age faster from all of this trauma and all of the lasers and trauma-based things that are on the market. I mean, you guys have heard me say this, but all of those things wear out the thickness of our dermal layer faster. And that's what they didn't know in the 1900s when they discovered this. They were just like, wow, look, a new epidermis. But what if they had continued to track the long-term results of that? They would have found that that woman's dermal layer was compromised for the rest of her life. It lost dermal thickness. It lost vitality. It accelerated her aging long-term. So once they have you in this system, all of these things create skin that have intense sun sensitivities, like massively. And so all of those potential and possible actinic precursors that start to show up, well, guess what? They've got something for you there too. So they have a way of keeping you in their system endlessly while they profit. It's important to mention that inflammation, which is the big announcement of all of this and what we've known for years, is both an internal and an external issue. So internally, we have to figure out how to keep inflammation down. which means correcting our microbiome, figuring out hormones, diet, all of it, food allergies, like all of that. And that's a tricky and mysterious process because we're all so different. And so there's that. And what we can do externally is do things for our skin, our acne, our pores, all of that does not aggressively add to the problem. So this whole harm to heal and dry to fix thing and this whole oil phobia is completely unfounded. And so what I found so much that I discovered over these years is the truth is when we hydrate our skin by applying a thin layer of oil on top of the water layer of our skin, this allows our pores to naturally open and deliver our own natural oils, which surprisingly prevents the formation of blackheads and clogged pores. And so our own oils, getting our own oils to the surface of our skin creates skin that is self-cleansing. And this is a huge part of the Skin Harmonics method. It's like, how can we harmonize our skin? How can we get our skin self-cleansing in the state that it's supposed to be? And my final piece of research on this is I went to the Board of Dermatology website for the United States. And it's just like this big website with all these pages, and it's like the God and the authority on skincare. And I found this whole page that the title of it was, Should I Moisturize My Acne? And this page exactly demonstrates the confusion and the madness that it is sending people in. The page says, should I moisturize my acne? And then the page says, why, yes, absolutely, you should moisturize your acne. Because if your skin is dehydrated, your sebaceous gland is going to overproduce oil, and the oil is the enemy, so we don't want this. So yes, moisturize your acne. It's important for this reason. And because you're going to be using benzoyl peroxide, salicylic acid, witch hazel, alcohol on your skin in order to kill bacteria and cleanse your skin, and doing all these intense, over exfoliations, your skin is going to be dry because you're doing all these things, and you must use a moisturizer. And then it says, well, the question is asked, well, what type of moisturizer do I use? And then they say, well, an oil-free moisturizer, a non-comedogenic moisturizer. This is what you need to do. And so this, of course, is impossible. Our skin cannot be hydrated if it doesn't have a layer of oil preventing the evaporation of our water. And this layer of oil is ideally from our own sebaceous glands. We have different genetic settings for this, but what we can do is externally source a really dense moisturizer and trap that water in our skin, which therefore creates skin that's soft and permeable, and our natural pore canals are not shriveled in and crusted in, and the openings aren't closed shut. There's this soft permeability that returns to our skin, and there is this release and this softening that allows proper skin function to come back. This is, of course, because we know that excess bacteria, excess skin cells, and excess oil are not the root cause of acne. They're symptoms. And the Skin Harmonic method corrects all of those things effortlessly. Let's see, what else do I want to say? I know this is going to be a long one, but I really wanted to get this out there. All of this to say that our skin and our bodies are perfect. They were engineered by nature perfectly. And we have to realign our values and our lives with nature so that they can function in their inherently genius way. And it's the Skin Harmonics method is this way that we can for lack of a better word, like rewild our skin and reactivate our skin's wisdom and genius and get it back into this state where we're getting it in that self-cleansing state and sustaining it so that our skin will be more resilient to the sun. It'll be clearer. It won't age fast the way that it does with this current system. And this process is just so beautiful to watch because it's the reversing of all of that and this implementing of all the right things that brings our skin back to life. And so thank you for letting me recount all of that and lay out this timeline so that all of my people, at least, are like fully aware and informed and cognizant of like what's happening in skincare right now. And yeah, it's just really good to share this with you guys. And I am just trying to figure out like how to get this message out to more people. So I'm working on that, but I wanted to share my nerdy down the rabbit hole week with you. And I will see